Hi everyone, welcome to another video here at the Hawk Conservancy Trust. For those of you that I've not met before, my name's Matt. I'm another member of the bird team here at the Trust. And like everybody here, I'm lucky enough to work with a whole variety of species and some really cool birds as well. And we had a question on one of our videos the other day about which is the smallest and the largest birds that we have here. And today, I wanted to get you a little bit closer with the biggest member of the flying team here at the Trust. So just joining us, this is Hector. And Hector is a Eurasian Griffon vulture. Let's see if we can get him to come up a little bit closer and say hello. So we've got a set of scales here, and we're going to see if we can get Hector to hop on the scales. I want to show you a little bit about some of the training work that I've been doing with Hector, and then at the end, because he's been so good in helping me out today, I've got a little treat for Hector as well. So, as I say, he's the biggest bird we've got here. Let's see if we can get him on the scales, shall we? Now, he knows a whistle. With a lot of animals, with birds or dogs, you might think the whistle is used to call that animal over. But actually, for Hector, he hears the whistle when he's done the right thing. So let's see if we can get him to hop on the scales. There you go. So just over 17 pounds. Yeah, good boy. And some of you might have been lucky enough to come to the Trust before now and see Hector fly in our demonstrations. He's often flown over Reg's wildflower meadow. And some of you might have even been lucky enough to experience that huge wingspan cruising over the tops of your heads. This bird's got a wingspan of around 2.8 meters. That's 9 foot, and really quite an impressive thing to see. Now, if you've been to the Trust before, some of our members might remember Hector's older brother as well, Macorba, who flew here for many years. And in fact, he actually was the reason that the mound area was increased in size. It was built up in order for Macorba to take off into the valley. Now, I just want to show you a little bit of some of the training work that I've been doing with Hector. I should say that he was born here at the Trust. He's a bird that was bred here in 2004. So he's 16 years old this year. But this is a species that can easily live to be, he could live to be over 40 years of age with us here. And I just want to show you a little bit of some of Hector's training work that we developed over time. So actually where he's standing at the moment is his station, and he knows his station. And again, I'm going to use this whistle to see if we can get him to sit on the station. The other thing I'd quite like him to do is at the moment, he's still trying to get food out of an empty glove. And I'm going to reward him when he's doing this, when he's not biting my glove. So you'll have to bear with me for a moment when I use the whistle. I'm not going to say too much, but let's just see if we can do a little bit of work with him and watch what happens. Okay. Good boy. Last one. There we go. So you can see that he treats me a little bit like another vulture. So being a Griffon vulture, Hector here, the Eurasian Griffon vulture, they're a gyps vulture. So they're not the only one that we have here at the Trust. Some of you might have watched the vulture restaurant video with Tom. If you haven't seen it, after the end of this one, have a scroll down the page and have a look. And heading into our large vulture over at the bottom of the grounds, Tom took you through, and you would have seen some African whiteback vultures there. So they're a little bit smaller than the Griffon vulture here, and but they've got that same build. Yeah, they've got that same build, that same shape. So that long, slender neck that you've got on the Griffon vulture here. And also, we work with gyps vultures in some of our Asian conservation programs. So birds like the Asian whiteback vulture and the slender-billed vulture as well. And of course, these days we know that, well, scientists believe that birds, modern birds, evolved from dinosaurs. And when you look at a bird like Hector, you can really understand how that's the case. He's got this huge, powerful beak. We know in the vultures that it's not their feet that they're using, it's this huge beak, and that's why when he's here, he's constantly pushing and shoving and trying to kind of tell me he's boss, really. As we've said to you before, of course, we're working with lots of different species here, but we're also working with lots of different individuals as well. And that is really, really important. It's a really important thing to point out. And Hector, well, he's a bit of an interesting character, aren't you? Yes, you are. Bit of an interesting character. So Hector did actually leave us here at the Trust for a short while. He went to another collection in 2007, but he was a bit of a troublemaker, weren't you? Yeah, you're a bit of a troublemaker. So he went into a big mixed aviary with lots of other birds, but he was causing some havoc, and he ended up back here at the Trust. Now, over the years, he's lived with lots of different other birds, lots of different other vultures, similar birds that you would find living alongside griffon vultures in the wild. And but at this time of year, at the moment, some of our vultures are breeding, and so Hector, at the moment, well, he causes too much trouble in those aviaries. So at the moment, he's in here. We do a little bit more work one-on-one, a little bit more training work, and hopefully in the future, you guys will be able to come back and see Hector in the air, see him in action, because he's an absolutely spectacular bird to see. I think he's just awesome. He's really cool. So prehistoric. Now, as I said, I've got a little treat for Hector today. So if I can take his attention for a moment, what I'm going to do is I've got a big chunk of meat for him on the bone, which of course, if you're a vulture, that's your favourite thing. So if you don't like seeing the birds eat big bits of meat, look away now. But if you don't mind it, we're going to give him this big chunk of food and have a watch and see how he gets on with this. So, yeah, I know, it's very exciting. I'm going to have to distract him just for a moment before I get this big bit of food out here. Okay, ready? You go off to that side. There we go. And I'm going to see if I can produce a whole leg of lamb. Look at that. And you can really see how these birds can remove carcasses in the wild. It doesn't take long at all. Let's see if, just quickly, if I can take the camera, see if I can get you guys in really nice and close here with Hector. And look at this. Incredibly powerful beak. And these birds make really, really short work of this food. So just to tell you a little bit quickly as well about Eurasian griffon vultures in the wild, because we often talk about our African vultures here. We get an opportunity to talk to you at the Trust if you come in to visit us. We talk about the threats and the problems that vultures face in Africa and also Asia as well, but we rarely get a chance to talk as much about our European species. So globally, the Eurasian griffon vulture is a species that's considered to be, in conservation terms, of least concern. Of course, that doesn't mean that we don't care about them. What it does mean is that their range is quite broad, and there's enough individuals that the whole species is not under threat. These birds, as the name suggests, Eurasian, are not just found throughout Europe, but they're also found on the African continent, through northern Africa and parts of Central Africa, then through into the Middle East, and as far east as the Himalayas in northern India, and then through into Mongolia as well. So a really, really broad range. But in parts of Europe, these birds have actually really struggled, in fact. There are countries throughout Europe where griffon vulture numbers now are really, really low. Fortunately, in other areas, they're doing really, really well. So if you happen to go on holiday at some stage to Portugal or to Spain, these birds are in really good numbers there and through the French Pyrenees as well. So really, really cool that those birds are starting to recover in those areas. As we said, Hector is a bird that was bred here at the Trust, and who knows, maybe in the future we'll have a chance to breed this species once again. But really, really wonderful thing to be a part of. And as I say, I just think he's really cool. We all know that we need to love and care for vultures as much as we possibly can. The first gyps vulture, the first ancestor to these birds, evolved over 5 million years ago. And as I said, if you look at him closely, it's pretty prehistoric, isn't he? And I just think he's a really cool character. So Hector might take a little while on his bit of bone and meat here. Thank you all so much for joining us again for another video. And as always, thank you for your continued support. Do switch back in and continue watching our videos in future. And we'll see you again. Thanks very much.